Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Welcome back to my channel for another interesting beer review. This time with another Bavarian Helles. This is from a Benedictine monastery brewery, which started to brew beers already in the year 1050, so very old. And as you might know, if you've been following my channel, I'm really interested in Klosterbrauerei, which is abbeys or monasteries, which are brewing beers, which is quite often that happens in Germany, where almost everyone is brewing beers. It seems like they're having so much breweries, and everyone loves beer, and it's such a big tradition to brew beer. So many monasteries is brewing beers, and this is the Weißenohe Kloster or abbey, which is brewing this Helles, which is called Glocken, as you can see. And Glocken means, of course, clock in Germany, so it's if you translate it, it's the clock. Helles, and Helles means pale, so it's typical Bavarian Helles, mild pale lager beer. Yeah, this is located in Upper Franconia, Oberfranken in Bavaria. So I'm gonna start to read some information about this brewery, some history about this, the monastery. The Weißenohe Monastery Brewery, also Weißenoher Klosterbrauerei, is a beer brewery in Weißenohe in Upper Franconia, a municipality in the district of Forchheim. The brewery has an annual output of around 20,000 hectoliters. After the Weißenohe monastery was founded in the second half of the 11th century, it can be assumed that the brewery was built immediately afterwards. The entire complex was sold in secularization in 1803. In 1827, the master brewer Friedrich Kraus acquired the brewing rights and place. The brewery has been family owned ever since. The hard culture's brewing water comes from the brewer's own spring deep well in the Jura highlands of the Franconia, Switzerland. The hops used and the barley comes from the region, from Lilling and Helpersdorf. The brewer's yeast, typical for the brewery, is propagated there itself. The yeast is separated off by Kieselguhr filtration. The product range includes the beers Altfränkisches Klosterbier, Classic Bioland Klostersud, Bonifatius Dunkel Bonator Doppelbock, Eucharius Märzen Weißenohe Pils, Glockenhell Eicharius Pils, Minnesänger Pils, Barrique Bock, Swickel Pils, Green Monkey, and Cannabis Club. Oh, those two last ones is sounding quite strange, not something for me. It's bottled by the brewery itself in the wooden beer barrels and by external companies in bottle caps. Classic, Barrique, Green Monkey, Minnesäger Pils, Cannabis Club are brewed according to the Bioland guidelines and checked accordingly. And some more longer information that I found on their website. Reines Quellwasser und pure spring water, it is in English, and the beer purity law of 1516, centuries of tradition guarantee for the quality of Weißenohe Klosterbier. Weißenohe is a word from Old German language that translates as settlement of the White Brook. This means Kalkash Creek, which features chalky water that sometimes appears milky. The same goes for all water courses and springs in our karst region with its limestone bedrock. Another scenic brook, just a few kilometers away, the Lillasch Valley, is even a tourist attraction for its terraces. A natural built-up for kalk sinter precipitated from the water. Our brewing water, on the other hand, springs from high up from the Jura hills in our Franconian Switzerland sub-region of Franconia. The well-protected springs are still located where they used to be when they were the water supply for the cloister, and they still provide us with the premium brewing water. Proof of that is the taste of the water and the yearly strict controls by public authorities. The hard chalk water lends its characteristics to the beer brewed from it. It is particularly suitable for the low to medium hopped, fairly dark beers that are typical for Franconia, which is why all of the Weißenohe beer specialties are typical treasures to our region. The cloistered's tradition of brewing binds us to quality and nothing else, ideally. We are located somewhere in the backwoods. It is exactly where we want to be, as the backwoods is where the local farmers grow the hops for our beers. Right in the next villages, in Lilling and Herbersdorf, hop farmers still know how to cultivate the special Hersbrucker aroma hops that are essential in lending that elegant touch of bitterness that the Weißenohe beer specialties is having. Most of the barley from our malts is also grown in the Jura hills of our region. People grow malting barley in these hills even in ancient cloister days, as the poor soils cannot but produce low protein barley, premium quality for brewing. Small malting plants in the area make the barley into malt for us. A decent beer does not need any more ingredients than just water, hops and malt. That's why the Bavarian purity law stated even in 1516. The fourth ingredient permitted by today's purity law, yeast, is a living organism that we continually tend and maintain right here on the premises. We take pride in what we do and are going to go on doing just that. Brew good beer. Did you know that Franconian people are reputed to be masters of understatement? What you will experience when you visit us in one thing in particular, face-to-face contact. In our brewery and of course in our country tavern, our premium quality beers and the rustic country house and in cloister atmosphere here will make you personal field trip in the Franconian backwoods an unforgettable experience. And at the end of the day, take the most tasty and aromatic part of the day home with you, selecting your favorites from our unique range of genuine cloister-brewed Franconian delicacies. Sounds great. All through history, water and above all its source, the spring, has always been venerated and respected. Inventing the water tap made us forget the water before it can run from a tap or be sold in bottles. Is a gift of nature. Good water is an indispensable ingredient for a good beer. Where aquifers, layers of water containing soil, and in hillsides the water will emerge at the point or at the foot of the hill, forming a spring. We can take our water from natural springs of this kind, not from deep drilled artificial holes. We are lucky enough to own 2 of these natural springs, which gives us high quality water. Our excellent brewing water contains even less than half of the amount of nitrate that is acceptable according to the German drinking water ordinance. It complies easily with the strict Bioland regulations too. A historic Franconian cloister brewery in the course of the centuries, from a Benedictine cloister to a cloister brewery, that was just a small step to take for the friars of the Weißenohe at the end of the 11th century. After all, the brewing beer was a regular feature of a monasterial life, and well-liked liquid bread that was called Gerstensaft, barley juice, in German, was staple food of the population, not only during fasting periods. So we can safely assume that beer brewing started in Weißenohe at the time when the Benedictine monastery was founded around the year 1050. This makes our Cloister brewery one of the oldest in Germany. In numerous publications, it is also listed as the oldest brewery in Franconia. By the way, Christian behavior was not guaranteed even behind monastery walls. In 1801, Father Schrettinger entered the following into his diary. On January 6, several Franconian soldiers billeted in the monastery were punished with a caning, as they had broken a door and advanced on the brewer with their sabers raised, because he had refused to bring them even more steins of beer. In the course of passing centuries, the monastery with its associated buildings were repeatedly destroyed, rebuilt, and exchanged between the bishops and the noble lords contending for possession of the countryside. During the era of secularization in 1803, the whole complex of buildings except the church proper was sold to private citizens. The last change occurred when the monastery buildings was sold to a businessman in Nuremberg, while the monastery church is still used as the parish church of Weißenohe parish. After the sale in 1803, the monastery's former master brewer tried to go on brewing. However, he gave up for financial reasons, selling his private privilege along with the buildings. So, from 1827 onwards, it was master brewer Friedrich Kraus who ran the former monastery as a typical Franconian trinity of brewery, inn and farm to ever greater success. Since that time, the family-owned business has been taken over by the fifth generation, presently being run by Urban Winkler with his wife Katharina, who are actively assisted by 13 employees. Short supplies during the war years forced us to close the inn in 1943. By now, a new generation has grown up into business, and in the spring of 2000, the time had come again. Franz Winkler reopened the brewery's inn and beer garden, trying to time-honored traditions of the monastery with a fresh will. So very interesting. And about this specific one, the Weißenoher Klosterbrauerei Glocken, it's possible to read the following on their website. An elegant, finely spiced, full-bodied beer with its origins in the brewing tradition from the former Benedictine monastery. Nuanced Hersbruck mountain hops in a balanced combination give this beer its very own taste. Then as now, the ringing of the Weißenohe church tower does not only herald moments of devotion and contemplation, it also determines the profane daily rhythm. One of the most beautiful moments of the day is certainly the one which the end of the day is rung in. With our Glocken, we bring the sound of the Weißenohe bells to you. Ring in your closing time with our Glocken. So, this brewery is also having a beer garden and an inn. An inn is a Gasthof where you can sleep and eat and everything like that. So, feels really familiar and something that is welcoming. One close look of the beautiful looking label right here. You see the town, the monastery, and of course the name comes from the church tower, the clock, which is ringing. Weißenoher Klosterbrauerei. Looks really nice. Here is the back label as well. Here is their logo. And as you can see, it's the thick bottle type often used by smaller breweries in Bavaria. Not the tall bottle, but the thicker one. I can also show you that I do have another beer from this brewery, which I'm gonna try in the future. It's their Klostersud, it's called. I'm interested in that one, gonna be really interesting to see what type of beer style that is. Over to this one, Stammwürze-Garantie, Original Altfränkisch, Mehrwegflasche der Umwelt zuliebe. Elegantes, feinwürziges Vollbier mit seinem Ursprung in der Brautradition des ehemaligen Benediktinerklosters. Glockenhell, gebraut nach dem bayerischen Reinheitsgebot von 1516, Kloster Weißenohe 1700. So this is how the Kloster Weißenohe did look like in the year 1700. here on the picture. It says here on the back label, wir brauen Weißenoher Bierspezialitäten liebevoll aus heimischen Malz, Hopfen und eigenem Kellwasser. Tradition und Handwerkliches können perfekt vereint. Elegantes und feinwürziges Glockenhell. Damals wie heute kündet das Geläut vom Weißenoher Kirchturm nicht nur Momente der Andacht und Einkehr an. Es bestimmt aus den profanen Tagesrhythmus. Einer der schönsten Momente des Tages ist sicherlich das Feierabend einläuten. Mit unserem Glockenhell bringen wir den Klang der Weißenoher Glocken zu Ihnen. Läuten Sie Ihren Feierabend mit unserem Glockenhell ein. Klosterstiftung 1053, Familienbesitz in der 5. Generation seit 1827. Klosterbrauerei Weißenohe.de is a link to the brewer's website. I'll link to it in the description box below, of course, as always. Klosterbrauerei Weißenohe in Weißenohe. I found 2 websites from this brewery, so I'm gonna link to both of them, and also a video. Please feel free to check that out as well. 5.0, volume of alcohol, Zutaten Wasser, Gerstemalz, Hopfen. Well, let's look at the label before we go to the tasting part of this one. Gonna be really interesting to try this helles, so let's open it up. The Weißenohe Glockenhell. Pour it up. I have high expectations of this one. Oh, how much I love Klosterbrauerei, but this one is gonna be really, really nice. Look how beautiful the foam head is looking. This is how you want a helles. Looks really, really nice, doesn't it? With its pale color, all the small bubbles, and the very, very thick foam white crown here. Looks really nice in my opinion. This is how you want a helles from Bavaria, and this is a big, very nice looking one. You see Bavarian style with a nice compact white foam, and this is the way it should look like, isn't it? Typical for the style regarding its color. I'll put this one right here, and the fantastic white crown really shows quality. Always important to build up that and to maintain it all the way through, in my opinion. Let's get the aroma. Fresh and typical for the style. Really, really nice. Easy to feel the high quality of the ingredients, which I was mentioning before. Really local ingredients, and really recommend you to visit their website. Always right time for a Bavarian helles, in my opinion. I really need to try this one right now. Do it while it's a big foam head, Bavarian style. So let's taste it. Weißenohe Glockenhell. Prost! It's really fantastic. Great, typical for this style. Freshness of all the ingredients is easy to feel. Very, very typical for the Bavarian helles style. Freshness of the taste, and this one, Geschmack, as they call it in German. Really, really nice. This I can say already. Easy to drink, very, very great quality. Definitely a big recommendation from me. So big honor to the Weißenoher Klosterbrauerei, the monastery breweries. Often breweries, it seems like, who started as monastery breweries aren't still monastery breweries, aren't still brewed in the monastery, but this time it is still brewed in the monastery by the monks. So that's a really good thing. You see still big foam head on this one, which of course is really great. So this one definitely didn't disappoint me at all. I was lucky enough to find it in Germany, of course. I recommend you to find it and to try it. I've been looking forward to try it, and it was really great. I look forward to try their Klosterbrauerei also, which I did show you before. This one is really great, I must say. There we have it. Hope you like my channel, by the way. I always look forward to my next reviews. So fantastic to drink these great tasting Bavarian beers. There's always interesting ones that will be coming up in the future. I just hope this pandemic crisis will be over soon, so I can travel to Germany again and pick up more beers. Don't know if that's ever gonna happen, but I hope so. With that said, I hope you continue to follow my channel, that you consider it interesting, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, see you again in the next German beer review.